Straw Hut Media.
AJ, I'll say that our guest today has amazing eyebrows. I looked in the mirror this morning. I'm not going to lie. I didn't realize that...
Your eyebrows look like caterpillars?
They look haggard.
I know. I noticed mine too, and I was like, wow, I haven't been on camera in a minute.
Confess your mess.
I love how you introduced our guest who has so many accolades and so many degrees and certifications and things like that. And you started off by talking about her eyebrows.
I mean,
that feels very like
when we first
anti-feminist or something.
When we first started dating, AJ, like one of the things he said was, "You have to take care of these eyebrows."
Well, because you only had one, actually.
I did not have one.
Yeah.
It's not a unibrow. But anyway. Point being, now I get my eyebrows threaded at least every 2 to 3 weeks, and I just haven't gone in a while, and I just noticed, and that was a reminder.
I think it's the pandemic of it all.
It's because,
like, I'm not getting facials like I used to. I'm not doing any of it.
I have no excuse as to why I haven't gotten my eyebrows done.
You're on camera all the time.
Yeah, I know. That was a mistake. But anyway, we're so excited to have today's guest. Today's guest is... I mean, she really got known from the Real Housewives franchise. If you listened to this podcast before, you know that we love Real Housewives. This is actually our third housewife we had on. We had Garcelle, we had Brandy, and now we have Dr. Tiffany Moon. I'm going to actually read her bio because I don't want to get anything wrong. She is an award-winning anesthesiologist, which I think is so cool. Frontline worker, super mom to 6-year-old twins, and a philanthropist. And she was the first medical doctor and first generation Chinese American cast member of The Real Housewives of Dallas. Cool. In the franchise history. And now she's moving into a different space. So she just launched her very own YouTube channel, Paging Dr. Moon, has lifestyle, medical, comedic, and other videos. But I also noticed that she's big on TikTok. She has 1.1 million followers on TikTok.
Wait, what?
Yeah. And she has quite a few that have gone viral. She's getting into comedy now. But we're going to talk about Housewives. We're going to talk about everything that's going on in her life. A new candle line that she just started.
And you decided to introduce her by her brows. Got it.
Of course.
Please welcome to Confess Your Mess, Dr. Tiffany Moon.
Yes.
How are you?
Hi. I'm so glad to be here.
You do have really perfect eyebrows, though.
See?
Like, they're flawless.
You'll see.
I'll tell. They were microbladed.
Everybody gets
so many people are doing microblading.
Yeah, I confess all the things that I whenever celebrities have a whole nother face and they're like, no, I drank some tea, and I'm like, your face is new.
Oh my god!
Like, just say what you did, you know?
Well, listen, you saw many faces on The Real Housewives of Dallas. We're going to dig into that a little bit later and kind of throughout the show. Here's how we kind of do things here at Confess Your Mess. We kind of sprinkle it in throughout the show. It's not a straight up interview. We're going to just have some fun with you today and get to know you a little bit better by sharing some of our listeners' submitted secrets with you and hearing your thoughts on some of them. Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh. Shall we test her, though?
I think so.
Before we get into it?
Maybe let's do it.
Okay, so now, I almost called you Tiffany. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine.
Dr. Moon and Tiffany, what?
Tiffany is fine. Dr. Moon is fine.
Okay.
Hey, you is fine.
Hey, you. Okay, I don't want to be disrespectful because you've earned that degree,
right?
And that title, so I want to make sure I pay respect to that. So, Dr. Moon, I might say Tiffany from now on. Before we get into sharing any of our listener secrets with you, we want to know that you're prepared and that we can trust you with them. And this is not your big confession or your big secret. You're going to share that with us at the end of the show. It's something that we call your mess, but yes.
You guys are so cute. This one is easy. I have a glass of wine almost every night.
Okay. What's your wine of choice?
Yeah, what kind?
Well, not to self-promote or anything, but I drink my own wine label, Three Moons Wine.
We're going to have a wine label
I created in 2009. So usually after we get the kids in bed, our couple's ritual is for him to open a bottle, and we usually have a glass and like a little cheese or charcuterie, and that's when we have our like mommy and daddy time, talk about things and, you know, other things that mommies and daddies do.
That's adorable. Are you a red or a white wine? What's your favorite? Red. Me too.
AJ's a red and I'm a white.
He's a white.
Do you have white in your label too?
Yes, we have Sauvignon Blanc.
Oh, that's his favorite.
Yeah, it's a really crisp. It's made like in the New Zealand style.
Okay, so here he goes.
Now we can be
cold.
Yes, we're good, because I was going to ask where the grapes come from, but the fact you said New Zealand style, because I don't really like California sauce, but I love New Zealand sauce. So if it's New Zealand style, I'll try it for sure.
Okay, cool.
I love that. I'm a red wine guy all day, every day.
Yeah, are you Cabernet? You're kind of a mixture.
I really am all over the place. I go through. I used to drink Cabernets a lot, and I still always will. If I'm at like a steakhouse, I feel like I have to have a glass of Cab.
Yeah.
But I'm like a Malbec sometimes a Zin, sometimes a Syrah. Mm-hmm. I went through a Pinot phase for a long time after the movie Sideways. Did you see that years ago?
Yes, they did it. I mean, they canceled Merlot.
Merlot. I noticed how I've not mentioned Merlot. That's something I drank early on, and then I went to Pinot because of that movie. So.
They canceled Merlot.
Yeah, they did. I'm also kind of a charcuterie guy, too. He's not really. I like a good cheese.
And should just come over. We'll go into the basement. We have 2,000 bottles of wine.
Wait, what?
Yeah, we're down.
A mean charcuterie board.
Do you know, I don't think you've ever been to the state of Texas, have you?
I think I actually do think I've gone there once. I have to ask my mom to verify. When I was younger, I'm pretty sure I've gone once.
I went one time to visit my sister in Tyler, Texas for a brief weekend. And I didn't really get to see anything. I did speak, I think, at a convention in San Antonio, maybe. But the one thing that I love so much about Texas was Buc-ee's.
Oh, I love Buc-ee's. I went to Buc-ee's for the first time while we were filming for Housewives. And I was like, why has no one told me about this store before?
It's incredible. It's like an amusement park. It's so easy because you go in there and they have every kind of like souvenir you could ever imagine. They have all sorts of like Christmas decorations on one side and all kinds of tchotchkes all over the place. And then they're like smoking their own like beef jerky in one like whole area of the store, and then another area they're making fudge, which is incredible.
I do remember you telling me about Buc-ee's. You told me about this when you came back.
It's technically a gas station or like a rest stop, but it's like a whole like shopping mall. It's like a whole thing.
Good old Buc-ee's.
Yeah, Buc-ee's is the bomb.
Yeah.
Okay,
you passed.
Yeah,
okay.
You definitely passed.
You revealed something. We trust you now.
That was a good one. So this first secret, anonymous female from Canada. Oh, Canada.
Ooh, we're international.
Okay. For someone who was single most of her life and is used to meeting a lot of people, I sometimes fantasize about other men, mostly in dreams, and I mentally prepare what I should do or wear on a next date. But then I suddenly remembered that I'm currently in a serious loving relationship and can't think like this anymore. Okay.
Dr. Moon, thoughts?
I mean, if that's the worst secret you've got, honey, I think you're doing good at life. See, the Canadians are always beating us. I knew it.
They're better. They're definitely better humans than we are.
Yeah.
Definitely. I feel this is like a very mild secret. Like you're allowed to, in your mind, fantasize about other people, like as long as you don't act on it, right?
Yeah, I always say just because you're on a diet doesn't mean you can't look at the menu.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
I have a confession though.
Okay.
I never got into Dallas for whatever reason. And so
I would watch it alone. He never watched it with me.
This is my first time meeting you. I didn't meet you through the show or anything. I'm actually meeting you on this podcast. So
it's probably better that you're meeting me through this podcast because I feel like I'm able to be myself more authentically with you now than I was when I was filming for the show because I was very wary. It was like the Mean Girls Club. I always felt like I had my guard up, and then the producers want us to do certain things, and it just I was like But now, talking to you, I feel like this is the real me.
I feel like we're going to kind of talk about Housewives later, but since we're already talking about it, we might as well get into it. So
why not? There's no rules.
There's been a lot of drama, obviously, with the Salt Lake City franchise. Jenny just got fired. And then
Mary's wild.
Jen Shah and the whole raid situation. There's been a lot going on. Before we get into kind of like the most recent, the firing, what for you, since we have a housewife on here, what was the vetting process like for you?
That you always wonder. It feels like listen, if they're firing Jenny and listen, I think some of the things that she posted are reprehensible, and I can't excuse them, and she's apologized, and it is what it is. But if they're going to fire her for these things, she was posting these things in 2020. So Bravo knew. Bravo knows.
The latest post, one of them was like December 2020, so not that long ago.
Like, they know Cameron Westcott, they know Leanne Locke, and they know who they are before they bring them on these shows. Ramona Singer, I mean, you can go into every single franchise and talk about these problematic sort of characters. So what was the process like? How seriously did they vet you?
I mean, I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but from me, it was I had a Zoom with a production casting agent.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a Zoom with her boss, I guess. And then I had an in-person interview with the head of the production company. And then like 2 or 3 weeks later, I got a phone call from him that was like, we'd love you to be part of season 5.
Oh, wow.
In between there, I had to submit stuff online, as did my husband, for a background check. And they gave us a copy of it. And it was like criminal records, none, like bankruptcy filings, none. And it was like, and then I ran a red light at a crosswalk in 2014. And it was like dismissed or whatever. Like I guess it was yellow and I tried to gun it, and the red light camera caught me. But
we've all been there.
And it all has all your stuff. And then it has, like, I have a copy of it. It says like things that might be, I don't know what the language is, but there was one where my children and I were cleaning like with Lysol spray, but it was like a imitated gun sound. And so that got flagged. And then I work at a public county hospital where a lot of the patients are homeless or in halfway houses, and we have a problem with patients using drugs prior to surgery, which can mess with their blood pressure and heart rate. And so I wrote a paper about the use of cocaine prior to surgery, and that got flagged in my background report about like drugs. And I was like, oh, that's so funny. I guess they just do a Google search and whatever pops up. Right. Now they think I'm using cocaine, like, so, I mean, I feel like I was vetted pretty properly, because when I was reading my own background report, half the stuff on there was sort of like, probably when you read it as a person, not as a machine, you're like, oh, that's not even a thing.
Right.
So I don't know, but different production companies work differently.
Well, that's true. So one of our friends, David Dorsa, is an old friend of ours. He worked on Real Housewives of Dallas for I think 1 or 2 seasons. I'm not sure if he was there when you were there. I can't remember. But it's interesting how we forget that all of these different shows are produced by different teams. It's not like one team who just goes city to city and does these shows. You have your team that's set in your city, and that's who you work with for the duration of the run for the most part. Of course, it changes a little bit. But I just feel like we did on my radio show just this week a story about the Housewives franchise as a whole and how much it's changed so quickly, and how things have changed since like Me Too and Time's Up and Black Lives Matter and all the global pandemic. So many things, how we see the world is so different now than how it used to be. And when I watch every cast finally start to diversify, right? On one hand, I'm like, well, that's fantastic. I love it. It's great. I've known Garcelle Beauvais. We both known her. I worked with her years ago, and I was really proud to see her in Beverly Hills. But that was one thing. She's been an actress in the city for a long time, and those are her real friends in the real world to some degree. When I see them throw like Ebony K. Williams on New York City with all these older women who, by and large, are kind of problematic and racist. I love them, but like they say crazy shit all the time. I feel like you're setting her up for failure. And I think the same sort of situation in Salt Lake City now. They'd had a little bit of diversity season 1, which was great, right? But to throw Jenny in there, first and foremost what you're getting, because you can just look at her social media. It wasn't that hidden. And second of all, I feel like, and I'm kind of curious to get your thoughts on this, like, what's it like going into a situation where you're like the token minority or whatever? And did you feel like a pressure to like represent like the entire Asian community? Like, did you feel that every time you were filming, and did that sort of hamper the way you presented yourself on TV?
Yeah, I did in many ways feel like I was representing the entire Asian community. And I also felt like I was representing the entire medical community, because a lot of people, I think, were looking at me as like the token medical doctor on a Housewives show, And to make matters worse, when I joined, it just happened that Brandy's video where she was like, the slanted ice came out. That was just a coincidence. Like, that just happened.
Right.
And then the producers wanted me in my very first like all cast event to go and address Brandy about her video. And I was like, I don't want to talk to Brandy about her video. Like, I want to talk about other stuff. And they're like, no, you should talk to Brandy about the video. And I was like, oh my God, this is what's going to happen. And I just felt like I'm speaking on behalf of like all Asian people or something. And then in my DMs, there were people that were like, you better rip her apart. You better show her that, and I was like, okay, that's not what I want to do. Like, I will handle this how I want to handle it. And if you saw on season 5, how I handled it with Brandy was like, I don't think that you made that video to hurt anyone, but please see how, as an immigrant who dealt with racism, it could be hurtful. And I think that because of my softer approach with her, that she was like, oh yeah, like that was really insensitive of me. I'm so sorry. But all the people that were like so mean to her and trying to get her canceled and all that, that's what I'm saying about this whole Jenny thing. Like, when I say like lead with love, like that does not mean like completely absolve the person and be like, oh, okay, whatever, you goofed up, you're bad, move on. I mean, I want to hold her feet to the fire, but also if you like condemn and criticize someone so bad, they just won't even listen to you anymore. Well, how can we like improve without, you know what I mean? You have to have them listen to you.
And I think that was just the conversation around social media. I think that was at least on your end where people were finding some issues, because I saw you just, congratulations, celebrate your 10-year wedding anniversary, right? So you were out of town and then people were calling, hey, paging Dr. Moon because we have an issue with racism with another, Asian cast member, and what's going on? Where's your statement? And so, of course, there was this undeniable pressure on your end to, one, figure out what people were outraged about because you were so disconnected, like not even in America right now. And then you see all this and then you release your statement and then people are, finding fault with that one part of your statement, leading with love. And you did clarify. And I think, for me, I looked at the post because, like I said, we've been binging and we just got introduced to Jenny as a cast member and a character, a couple of days ago.
Right now she's wild and opinionated, but also I feel for her because all of her miscarriages and her stillbirth and all things. So that's where I am in the story with her. But then
when I saw the post, I was like, oh my God. And I think what a lot of people struggle with is, I don't know her personally, but it always is bothersome for me when those posts were deleted and they resurfaced and she was essentially caught. And so then when you apologize only after you're caught, then it's like, if it never came out, would you and then if it never came out, would you have actually ever said anything? And then furthermore, you can apologize because you're getting backlash. But I guess the issue for me is you posted that, you felt that. And then in her statement, she said something, back then at that time. I'm like, it was 2020. Like, it wasn't that long ago.
That part was a while.
And then she did a live with one of her black friends. And then that was just a whole problem. It's just.
I think honestly, and I think to your point, I'm going to call you Dr. Tiffany. To your point, though, I think that is the piece of the puzzle that's really missing sometimes, is that a lot of these older white ladies who've been on these series since day one are so problematic. And then Tiffany gets booted right away. And Ebony K. Williams, the way that she was sort of treated, I'm like, you can't have a Ramona Singer and Luann Lesseps on that show for that many years and then let them say the crazy shit they've said. And then Ebony K. Williams comes in literally one season and, God bless her, tries to have like a Black Shabbat in Harlem and tries to teach them about the culture a little bit, which is what the Bravo was trying to do. Mm-hmm. And these old ladies just wanted nothing to do with it. She's like, reportedly, if the show comes back, she's out after one season, and Ramona and Luann are supposed to be coming back. And that's just problematic to me. It just feels like you're setting, it's great that we want to have more like minority, and I hate that word, but like more minority representation, but then we set these women up for failure. And it just feels like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Some of the things I saw in New York that last season that Ebony came on, I was like, what is going on? And like the microaggressions.
Grown
and like
women.
It's not just the cast members, it's also the audience, because you have to think the audience is watching this show.
That's the thing, the ratings. The ratings struggle. When they talked about race this year in New York City, they had the worst ratings ever.
So if you think about what people watch TV and television for, they watch it as an escape. And so when people are then made aware of, if I'm watching this and this person on this show is saying that what this person who I love is doing is racist, then that means am I? And then they start to internalize, and that has to be hard for these people to deal with. And hey, maybe you are racist. Then maybe you are.
Then they change the channel. Yeah. And the ratings go down.
And goodbye. And I'm sorry, the ratings. Anyway,
I didn't know we wanted to tell you all these things, Dr. Tiffany. Wow.
We have so much more to talk about.
AJ.
Emile.
I feel like, okay, we always have like some form of therapy. I feel like that was like a therapy on our like Real Housewives obsession.
She's also not a psychologist or therapist in any way, shape, or form, but her name is Dr. Tiffany Moon. So we're like, doctor, listen to us. What do you think? And she just sits there. And
I'm a very good therapist. I mean, I don't have a degree in psychiatry, but I deal with a lot of people that are problematic. So I'm very good at listening and then, trying to give people advice. I do it all the time.
Well, I love that about you.
Well, let's listen to what Zion, I love that name, Zion.
Yeah, let's put that to the test right now. Let's see what we got.
Zion Male, New York City. They said, to be honest, getting this off my chest feels amazing. I'm a 28-year-old male from Brooklyn. Oh, I have lots of family in Brooklyn. Shout out. I've had a female friend since high school, and we have always had an interest in each other, but never took it to the next level. She has always had an interesting sex life, and from time to time would tell me her kink stories.
What's an interesting sex life mean?
Apparently very kinky. One recurring kink was her love of publicly pegging men at swinger parties.
Oh.
Wow. Okay. I consider myself a straight male, but there is something about her confidence and description of the act that made me want to try it. One day I built up the courage to ask her if she would consider pegging me publicly. Needless to say, she was shocked but agreed. Within a few weeks, I found myself butt booty naked on my hands and knees being pegged on a spinning circular table surrounded by onlookers. From time to time, we make insider jokes around friends that only we get, and to this day, it's been a secret.
Whoa.
Wait, hold on. Can we back up like 2.5 minutes? Because I don't understand what publicly pegging
Okay,
is.
so pegging's like a strap-on.
Yes.
Right, so she would like wear a strap on and have like essentially like simulated anal sex with him,
which some men are into. We found it out from I had one of my best friends, Drew Dorsey, on here. I forgot what episode, but she talked about how she was with a partner who wanted her to peg him, and she wasn't really into it. But there's some men, I guess, who are into pegging. I didn't know of this, public pegging kink.
Yeah, that's
was
a jump
thing
for him. He's like, hey, I'm a straight dude, but I'm going to have sex with a woman, but she's going to do me from behind publicly on a spinning on a.
He's like, this is a secret, but he just said he got pugged. I'm so sorry.
Peg, like a peg, like you put a peg in a hole.
Peter got pegged publicly, personally in the plug. Okay.
Yes.
If this is a secret, what about all the public people that watch you do this? How secret
but
is it?
you have to know those swinger sex parties. Do you remember? Did you ever watch Bridgerton on Netflix?
No.
Well, for anybody who's watched Bridgerton, you guys know there's that scene where he goes and there's like essentially a sex party, and it's like any of your desires, and they all keep it secret.
Yeah, it's like a gay bathhouse, the same sort of a situation. Like gay men for decades have been going to gay bathhouses, hundreds of years.
Yeah,
going to gay bathhouses, and then you just don't speak it as soon as you leave the doors.
Yeah,
right.
Or the steam room at many gyms in LA. I mean, it's just like
that's also true.
Like all types of things, but. No, it's interesting because when people submit these secrets, they're getting things off their chest. And he says that they have an inside joke that only they get, even when they're around friends. And so it's still a secret. This is honestly fascinating to me because you're fulfilling so many things. Like they've had this feeling of, oh, he was attracted to hearing her stories, which, if you have somebody who is very kinky or they're telling their stories, then obviously it piqued his interest. And then this is just a big jump to being piqued. And then all of a sudden you're being pegged publicly. Yeah. Wow.
Dr. Tiffany, you've been married 10 years. Like, how do you keep it spicy? Do you and your husband, I don't want to ask about your kinks unless you want to share them because you've got a family. But like, what do you and your husband do to like keep things fresh? You're juggling so many things, families, careers, whatever. How do you keep it fresh?
We just try to both stay awake.
That's so real.
And I'm like, is it today? Oh, it's today. Okay. Well, I had thought it was tomorrow. No.
Oh, you schedule it. Oh, okay.
No, I mean, we, on vacation, when we don't have schedules and calendars, obviously we're feeling a little bit more romantic.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then there's some weeks where we have like a ton of meetings and I'm on call and the kids are crying or sick and I'm spending the night in their room. So, we ebb and flow, but I think like communication is key. Like we kind of, and I have this one candle that I burn when I'm feeling saucy. So now I don't really got to tell him.
Oh.
Like he just looks for which candle is burning.
From your candle line?
Yes.
It works.
Sexy time candle, and everybody knows this. Actually, like my friends, they're like, "Send me two more of sexy time."
Oh, that's good. So no public pegging going on with your husband anywhere. Like that's just not happening.
No, he's not been pegged to my knowledge.
Wait, so
going back to this person, like, I don't want them to feel like ashamed or whatever. Like, I think his problem is that like this secret is like killing him or something. Like he wants to tell his other friends about it. But I say if this is like something that you guys want to do, you're not hurting anyone, everyone's consenting, and you guys are having fun, like. I say, who cares? Like,
right.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, if we have any Potomac fans out here, we know that Karen Huger and Dr. Wendy both have their candle lines. There's a whole thing on like how many wicks. So how many wicks are your candle?
You know what? I'm gonna show y'all something in a minute, but I am a one wick kind of gal.
Oh,
one dick and one wick.
Okay. Oh, there's the title of the podcast episode: One Dick and One Wick.
Oh yes, that's definitely the title.
Oh, that's so good.
No, I actually, I mean, I like 3-wick candles, but they burn so fast sometimes.
They burn faster. You're just going through your product faster.
Yeah.
And if you have a strong enough one wick and strong enough one dick, you don't need 3.
That's right. That's right. Listen.
I love it. Okay, let's get to another secret.
So
that was iconic. One dick, one wick. This one is from JHB, female, Missouri. My husband is obsessed with Wes Anderson movies.
Oh my gosh!
Wait, no, that's
Wes Craven. But I also love Wes Anderson. But no, I know.
Like, it's like Scream.
Think of like Hotel Budapest. Or, yeah.
Or Grand Budapest.
Aquatic.
Wait, Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah, that's what it was. What did I say?
You said Hotel Budapest.
Okay, come on, it's been a minute.
Okay, my husband is obsessed with Wes Anderson movies, so I'll watch them with him because I'm a great wife and to have something to talk about. But I'll never tell him how much I actually can't stand Wes Anderson movies.
Oh yeah, you either love him or hate him.
Just not something I vibe with. But I love my husband and it makes him happy. A secret I take to my grave. This is actually great. So, Dr. Moon, Tiffany, is there anything that you do for your husband or with your husband that you secretly hate, but you do it because you love them?
Yes, I watch NFL sports. I do not know what the hell is going on. And he is so excited. He is jumping up and down. We have season tickets, so sometimes I actually have to go. At least if I'm at home, there's a commercial break and I can check my TikTok and stuff. But he's like, oh no, what flag? He's like, that's bullshit. There's no flag. And I'm over here and I'm like, yeah, that's bullshit. That flag is bullshit. And I don't even know what's happening.
Wait, you got Cowboy season tickets?
Yes. I know. And there was like maybe going to be a small percentage that the Cowboys were going to make it to the Super Bowl in LA, and we have family in LA. So my husband's all getting ready to he's like, this is the year, babe. I feel it. And I was like, I feel it too, baby. I feel it too.
Yeah, but instead, my home state Bengals, Cincinnati Bengals, playing in the Super Bowl with the LA Rams. So
I was on a stream the other day, and I was like, I know the Rams are going because they're LA, and I was like, I don't know who they're playing, but go sports.
Well, we just had Lunar New Year, and it's the year of the tiger, I believe, or I believe it was the year of the tiger, correct? I guess I should probably ask you. And the photo is like a Bengal tiger. And it's so funny because the Cincinnati Bengals, so everybody back in Cincinnati's freaking out this year in my home state of Ohio. Yeah. They're like, the year of the tiger? Really? You don't say.
They're going to lose.
They think the Bengals are going to win this thing.
No, they're going to lose.
I can't imagine.
I don't know anything about sports, but the way that the Rams have transformed their whole, it's new.
Their whole vibe the last couple of years since they've come back. There's no way they're going to lose it at home. When
I was a server, when they hired the Rams coach, I served him in like a whole table. It was from Josh Flack. No, not Josh Flack. Who's the other from $1 Million Listing LA?
Josh Altman?
Yes. It was Josh Altman, his wife, and the whole bunch of people, and then the new Rams head coach. And I was like, oh, the coach is kind of hot.
Take your ass on.
But that's just random. That's all I care about with the sport.
You just wanted to tell me about that?
I'm just the hot guy. Okay.
You know who I think's hot?
Who?
Odell Beckham Jr.
Ooh, which I didn't even know he was part of the Rams until like a couple days ago.
So fine.
Listen. All right. So, Tiffany, that sounded like yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
We got a question to our Instagram for you. Specifically.
Love it.
Because I know you put on your Insta story. If anybody has any questions, reach out. Wow, I'm having some tech issues over here on my phone.
You just want me to do it? You keep tapping things. What are you doing?
No, I have to get the doc open so you can do it.
Got it.
So this comes from Kristen. Kristen says, would you ever go back to a Real Housewives of Dallas reboot, and under what circumstances?
Yes, I would, if we could find the right cast. One that wasn't racist and tried to destroy my career. Yeah. Also going back to what we said earlier, just to finish that thought,
Yeah.
I went on The Real Housewives because I needed some fun and levity and fluff in my life, right? Because I'm an anesthesiologist and all my patients are like cancer patients or trauma patients. Like I don't do like fun surgeries that people actually want to have, like
Right.
boob jobs or, things like that. So my patients aren't happy to see me. A lot of the times the surgeries don't go well. There's a lot of bad stuff that happens. So I was going on The Housewives because I was like, oh, I need some fun. I want to go on girls' trips and, get a little drunk and sassy. And then all of a sudden I go on and they're like, we want you to talk about racism. And I was like, what? Like, I didn't come on the show to teach people about racism. I don't want to be the token Asian girl. Like, I just want to get drunk with my friends and go on trips. Like, isn't that what this show is about? That's what you promised me.
Well, I guess behind the scenes, this is just a random question I have behind the scenes because, we're all in the industry here, but we aren't on a reality show. I know like you keep kind of mentioning like, oh, the producers want me to talk about this. And obviously the producers have a hand in, the narrative of the show.
The storylines.
How much, I guess, of a hand do they have in, these conversations? Because since AJ talked about, kind of setting these housewives up for failure because you're having these uncomfortable conversations. But how much do these producers like really say, okay, before you get to an event or when they're miking you up, okay, Tiffany, so we really need you to bring this up, or like, how does that work?
I mean, we do get pep talks at the beginning of events. Like, don't forget to bring up the thing that happened last Tuesday. They never put words in our mouth. It's never scripted. They never say X, Y, and Z. But they do say, don't forget to talk to Brandy about this. And then they'll like kind of, make you get up and do it. But they don't put words in your mouth though.
Well, it's so funny because as somebody, I got my start on a reality show like 11 years ago. And so it's so funny to watch.
Expedition Impossible. Look it up.
ABC. It was a whole vibe. But to watch, you can see sort of the fear, especially in a new girl's eyes, their first season. You can see that moment where they're like, so, Leanne, why don't you tell me about that racist thing you were saying the other day that you said about her behind her back? Go. And like the fear, like deer in headlights, when somebody has to bring up something very uncomfortable. Because on every cast, there's like those couple of women. Like you guys had, listen, I think that there are a lot of things I really liked about Brandy. I think the videos that she did on social media were reprehensible. But there are certain things about her that I enjoyed because she was just a disaster. And I like the fart jokes and things like that. But like you look at like a Leanne Locken or like Cameron Westcott, and from what I see as a viewer, they're just vile human beings. They're just horrible, horrible human beings from what I can see. So like when you go into these situations, you kind of have to know a little bit to like some degree, like, oh, Leanne might be tough to deal with. Like, did you feel that when you came into the cast? Did you think there were certain women that you were going to gravitate towards and certain ones that you're like, I need to be careful about these other women? Or am I completely off base?
No, I actually was not worried about anyone because I didn't think it would ever get that bad. And actually, the person that I thought that, you kind of have a bestie on the show was going to be Cameron. When I started the show, I thought that she and I were going to like pair up because we both love pink. We're both obsessed with our animals. And we love like shopping and fashion. I mean, we have certain personality characteristics that are very similar. But I think when she decided to like pair up with Carrie Brittingham, it like brought out this like mean girl mentality of her that I had not seen before.
Which is so wild because Carrie used to be such a sweetheart in the early seasons. I really liked her. These shows do change these women, or they just bring out who they really are. But
that part.
Building on Emile's question, if you were to go back, are there any cast members that you would want to come back with you?
Good question.
I'm fine with any of the people that I worked with previously, except Cameron and Carrie. They're the only two that were problematic. They really like ganged up. Like, the birthday party that they had for Carrie's like 50th birthday, which we celebrated for a month, was on a Thursday where I had to work that day in the operating room and I had to go to work the next day. So I came, had 2 shots maximum. And then Carrie and Cameron, I guess, conspired to like throw me into the pool with all my clothes on. And then when I was in there, like, wet with everything, we're like in the corner laughing. And I was like, oh my God, like, I feel like I'm in middle school.
Yeah, you're like, I just saved somebody's life earlier today. I'm going to get up and do it again tomorrow morning. I'm going to perform surgery on people. And like these grown women are throwing me into a swimming pool. That's
and then
weird.
when my alarm went off at 10:30 or whatever, they're like, oh, Tiffany has to go home. And I'm like, I have to go to work the next day at 6:30. But then Cameron's like brother-in-law or whatever tried to tweet that I like stayed up really late and was going to work hungover and like tagged my employer, and I was like, oh, okay.
That's character assassination.
Am I boring and don't stay out late enough, or am I party too hard and stay up late? Like, which is it? Because you guys are saying it's both.
It's so interesting watching these shows and seeing how much drama actually comes not from like the events on the show, but by the time the reunion gets there and all the tweets and all the confessionals, and like people can be media, perfectly fine, and then you start watching it back like, whoa, I didn't know this person was saying this behind my back. I didn't know that this person was saying this and talking to this. And like,
you think you had a great season, then all of a sudden you realize you're like the whole season people are talking about you behind your back.
That is, you just nailed it on the head. When we finished filming and had the season finale, I felt like I was in a good place with all the women. And then for like 3 months, they do post-production. It's like kind of a long time. And then 3 months later, you're watching a party that you were at or something that happened with someone, and they are talking to the camera and they're like, and that is so tacky. And you're like, oh, really, bitch? That's not what you said to me at the time.
It literally is like a scene out of Mean Girls.
It really is. Yeah. Oh, that looks so cute on you, AJ. And there's like, oh God, it's the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Do you watch any of the other franchises, or now that you're out, are you kind of like, I'm over, I'm good?
No, before I joined as a housewife, I never watched any of the other ones.
Oh, wow.
But I watched all of the last one of Beverly Hills.
Love it.
Okay.
And I watched like half of this current episode season of Salt Lake, but I'm super behind. And then because I was in Italy, and then people are like, my feed is like, what do you feel about Jenny? And I'm like, what is going on? And it's all crazy. So I'm taking a little Housewives pause right now.
Well, they're clearly going to ask you and Crystal Minkoff what you think about Jenny. Like they would, I mean, it's just so like absurd. Like, oh, let's just ask the 2 Asian housewives besides Jenny what they think about Jenny. It just seems so like offensive, but like, whatever.
And you did a comedy show out here, and did I see Crystal came and supported? Was that at the time? Yeah.
Crystal came with Rob and Josh Flagg's husband.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh wait. I know him. I knew him years ago. Not Brandon. What on earth is his name? Bobby.
Yes.
Bobby. We used to hang out years ago, way before he ever met Josh Flagg. That's so funny. Well, I love that. But this is the one thing, like you said, you were looking for fun and being part of a Housewives franchise. And it sounds like you've made some friends in other Housewives franchises, though, and maybe found your way to fun, just not the way you expected. Are you enjoying the comedy thing? Because stand-up comedy is my biggest fear in the world.
Yeah, I am enjoying it. I've only been on stage twice, right? So like some of the other comedians that were there, I was like, oh, how many times have you done this? And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, how many times have you done a stand-up set? They're like, I don't know, a few hundred. What about you? And I'm like, oh, this is my second. And they're like, oh, Lord. It is one of the hardest things I've ever done. And I've done some difficult things.
Yeah.
Because you don't get a do-over.
Nope.
It's just you on stage and you have nothing but yourself. Like there's no backup singers. There's no, pyrotechnic fireworks, like to, wow the crowd.
Just
like, it's
you.
literally you and a mic.
Yeah.
And trying to make people funny and not land a joke is probably like one of the worst feelings.
Because then you feel like you just crumble. We have one of our best friends. She's one of the best stand-up comics in the game. I've been to a lot of her shows, and she is as funny or funnier. Her name's Cornelia Stradwick.
Yeah, she was like episode 7, I think.
Yeah, she's been on our podcast, but she's in our wedding party. She's in my wedding party, actually. And she has probably done thousands of stand-up sets. And she worked consistently through the entire pandemic. But I watch her, and it's an art. You think it's just like, oh, go out there and be funny. They take it very, very seriously.
Yeah.
And
it's serious.
But I kudos to you for even getting out there. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah. And
a 15-minute set at the Laugh Factory.
That's a long time too.
And the Laugh Factory is a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that stage has been graced by like iconic names.
Everybody.
Like,
literally name every single comedian and they've been there before.
Right.
I don't think you graduate from like comedy school until you've, walked on that stage.
And also 15 minutes is so long.
It doesn't, because I know some people are like, oh, 15 minutes, that's not, no, it's long when you literally have to entertain an audience for 15 minutes. No. Definitely kudos to you. And kudos to you to answering all of our questions about Housewives and giving us insight.
All the tea, yes. I also want to know about your candle line, because you said that your husband knows it's sexy time when the sexy time candle is burning. My fiance knows if the song "Thinking About You" by Frank Ocean is playing on our Amazon Alexa, or the red lights are on.
You do "Thinking About You," and we have colored lights. I turn the lights in the bedroom red, and he's like, "Oh, I know what this means."
Oh, so he's ready to get some. Okay, I get it. But tell us about your candle line. I think it's super exciting.
I came up with this candle line during the pandemic because I had a little extra time on my hands and I'm not very good at sitting still. So I was blending essential oils and putting them into the wax. And then I was like, I'm going to call it aromasthesia because it's aromatherapy plus anesthesia. And then I named all the candles after anesthesia drugs and other assorted drugs. So my new one is like tropical orchid scented. I don't know if you can see, but it's called botulinum, which of course is Botox.
Love it.
And then they all have taglines, as all humans and candles should have. So of course, this one is for humans who frown too much.
Oh my gosh.
And then there's a back label with like indications for use, like your friends always tell you have a resting bitch face.
Oh my God, you need that one.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. I do have a resting bitch face. Totally. Hard RBF.
Like, burn this candle and your forehead won't be the only thing that's relaxed.
Oh my God, I love that. That's
such cute packaging.
I love things that are not just like that work and that smell nice, like a candle, for instance, but that also like make sense and like make you laugh and make you feel a little bit better.
How many scents do you have right now?
Oh my gosh, I'm in trouble. I have 22. I was supposed to stop I stopped at 12 and I was like, I'm not making any more. But then I would like make more and I'd be like, oh, this one smells so good. So then I'd make a batch and now there's 22. I made a special 2022 Year of the Tiger one and I'm going to donate all the sales from that one to the AAPI fund.
Oh, I love
that. Oh, that's so awesome. So you've been doing, we talked about this the other day, actually. What? You said when we were watching one of the shows, one of the Real Housewives franchises, I think it was Salt Lake City, what you love when women come onto the show.
With established businesses.
Yes.
I just think it's great because sometimes when you start, and no tea, no shade.
Yeah, sure.
But sometimes when you get on a show and then, after a season or two, then you're like, oh, I want to introduce this product. It kind of feels like, I'm just introducing this on the show so I can have something.
Wendy Osefa?
No, I'm not
Dr.
saying
Wendy?
that. No, don't put words in my mouth.
Sorry.
That is not what I'm saying. I'm just talking about in general across all the franchises. Sometimes I like it better when you start with an established business just because it doesn't feel like a quick grab. It's like,
and also low-key, just to clarify, I love Zen Wen. Mm-hmm. I do. She's actually one of my favorites on Potomac. Mm-hmm. However, she had no damn clue how to create a business plan. She had no idea. Her husband walked her through that entire process.
I took an entrepreneurship class in senior year because I thought I was going to start a video production company after I graduated, and we had to do a whole business plan. Those things are hard. So listen, I get it, but yeah, she should have done some more.
All right, let's get to the confession you've all been waiting for, shall we?
Y'all said Wendy, and then I texted my assistant while we were, and I was like, so.
Wait, is that Wendy's candle?
No, it's my candle that weighs like 10 pounds.
How many wicks are in that?
It's 13 wicks.
Whoa. You have a 13 wick candle?
It also, it's like, this is seriously, it was like, how many ounces? It was like 1,000 something ounces. It's going to burn forever. Well, it's not because it's just going to burn faster.
13 wicks.
I made it because I was bored.
Oh my, this is almost comedic. Like
it's comedic. No. It's meant to be like all the stuff that I do is meant to be comedic. And so I was going to make some sort of skit about like, oh, 1 wick and oh, you have 3 wicks. I was like, bitch, I have 13.
Oh my God, you have to make it. Put it on your TikTok.
I want to see it.
Yeah, I just haven't had time this week, but that I wanted to show you guys.
Oh my gosh,
that's the secret. No one has seen this candle before, but you guys.
Oh, that's an exclusive.
We got an exclusive.
There it is. Somebody's gonna pick up that press.
Tiffany Moon.
Tiffany Moon has like 13 wicks. 13 wick candle.
Oh,
you have to go to her home to see it and smell it.
Right.
All right, here, let's do it, shall we?
Yes, we've been waiting for this the whole episode.
Are you nervous for this confession? People get nervous.
No, because I'm not nervous.
Okay,
that's good. That's good.
Dr. Tiffany Moon, it's now time for you to confess your mess.
I seriously don't have any secrets. I'm an open book, but for 2 years, I made a bunch of my friends call me Jessica and make guys that I would meet in bars call me Jessica because I was underage. And my friend Jessica gave me her ID because apparently all Asians look the same and it works.
Stop.
When it comes in handy, it comes in handy.
I memorized her address. Her birthday's March 31st, which is like Aries, I think. Like, because the bouncer would be like, is this really you? And I'm like, yeah, I was having a bad hair day that day. Or, that was before my double eyelid surgery.
Oh my gosh.
And he's like, what's your birthday? And I'm like, 3/31/81. and then he's like, what sign are you? And I'm like, Aries. And so I had a whole thing. But then in order not to get caught, I just kept this lie going. Like inside the bar, guys would buy me a drink and they'd be like, what's your name? And I'd be like, Jessica.
Oh my gosh.
So if any shit ever comes out, that was my alter ego, Jessica.
I love that. He had an alter ego named Jerome.
I did. That was back in my straight days.
Wow.
Straight. I actually have a confession that's related to that and Housewives. I think AJ knows this. So at the old restaurant I used to work at years ago when I was a server, it was kind of a hot spot in LA. It was on Sunset Boulevard.
He used to wait on Adele regularly, and Taylor Swift used to go there, and the Kardashians were there. It was a hot spot.
So we were told, and I'm not gonna say the restaurant, we were told if somebody underage came in and we checked their ID and it was a ID that was over 21, but we got celebrities and I wouldn't know who they are because I also I'm a host that worked in pop culture. I was like, I know that this is insert name here, and I know they're underage, and so I would go to my the director of operations, hey, this is so-and-so. I can show you their... No, just serve them. Just serve them.
I know Kylie Jenner has a baby, but she's still only 19.
It wasn't Kylie Jenner.
It wasn't her.
But that was multiple situations that happened. But there was one time where it was a group of kids that came in and they were all giving their IDs. And I was looking at their faces. And keep in mind, I know you both have probably experienced this. As you get older, you start to look at 21-year-olds and you're like, wow, you look so young, like a baby. But they're actually 21. So I was like, oh, this could be the case. So I'm going through and I'm like, I mean, okay, what's your birthday? They say, I'm like, okay, I guess, you look young, whatever. So then I look at this one, and I look at the face, and I look at her, and I'm like, I'm not going to say who, but it was one of the daughters from one of the Housewives on Beverly Hills. And I watch all these shows, and I was like, what'd you say your birthday was? Okay. And I went to my boss, and I was like, I can literally show you who this is. That this is so-and-so's daughter on Housewives. Just serve them. I was like, okay. And I had to do that all the time. And I was like, listen, so what I would do is instead of me serving them, because I'm not going to get in trouble, I would actually tell them, if you want me to serve them, you need to take the drink over there. I'll take the order, but I refuse to actually serve them alcohol when they're underage because I don't want anything to happen to me. I'm a black guy.
So it's either Amelia or Delilah Bell Hamlin or Bella or Gigi Hadid or Kyle Richards has a daughter who's a little bit older who could have been younger at the time. I'm trying to do the math and figure. I don't know who it is. Don't tell me. I don't want to know.
See, I'm not looking at the camera or anything. I don't want to. I can't hide facial expressions, but it's in there somewhere in that catalog.
I thought you were just gonna say that you just put water and serve them the lychee martini, but it had no alcohol.
Well, you have to think when you're a server, you're so busy. I don't have time to can you for this one? Can you make these fake drinks because they're all underage? It was just a hot mess. So I'm glad I'm not in that environment anymore. But you telling that story made me remember oh wow, I did have that experience with the Housewives' daughter and she came in multiple times. And the other thing, and then I'll get over this. The other thing is once you serve them underage once, they can come back in. Even if I wasn't their server the last time, they can say, oh, last time that person served me, so why can't I? What are you saying?
Yeah, then you're
screwed because they're like, I got this last time, so you can't tell me no this time when literally last week I was here and I got these drinks. Toxic environment.
I'm glad you got that off your chest.
I know. I feel like I really did confess. I felt guilty even though I never actually served it.
We both have worked in very toxic environments, it sounds like.
Oh, full circle moment. Dr. Tiffany Moon, thank you so much for stopping by. You're so fun.
You are so fun.
We adore you. And definitely we will take you up on the dinner offer if we make our way to Dallas.
Texas.
We've always said we want to go to Texas.
How close is Dallas to Houston? Because my loctician just moved to Houston.
driving far, but flying 45 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad at all.
For us going to, you got to think Texas is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
Sure is.
Okay, last thing before we let you go. Every episode of the podcast, we like to ask our guests, what is your takeaway of the day? So something from this podcast that just stuck with you.
Ooh, I don't know. I was, reading up about you two before I joined because I like to do my homework.
Yeah.
And I found out that you two were a couple because I just thought you were, friends or whatever. And I was like, I don't think that I could work with my husband because we would just I love my husband. I mean, we just celebrated our 10-year anniversary. I love him so much, but I don't want to see him all day. And so my takeaway is that maybe we could work together on a project because I see you guys doing it and kind of having your witty, loving banter. But then, it sounds like you have a good, healthy relationship and you guys are getting married later this year. So because my husband and I were approached to do a project together because he owns hotels. He owns hotels and there might have been a production company, maybe, hypothetically speaking.
Ooh, is this another secret?
Do a show about me and my husband running our hotels. And I was like, oh, that sounds cute, except I'd have to work with my husband. But now that I see that you two are doing it successfully, I'm sort of maybe going to call them back and say I changed my mind. I will.
Oh my gosh. If we see this show and fall in love with it, it's all because of you right there. Or
I
us.
know. And then we'll have to stay at one of the hotels. We'll make an appearance. We're like, we don't know her at all.
If you guys ever come to Dallas, I will hook you up. Everybody who's ever come to Dallas, I have hooked them up with the hotel. Like, I have you covered.
We're going to take her up.
Yeah, we'll definitely take her up.
Because we're always looking for little weekend getaways.
Yeah.
We adore you. And thank you so much for stopping by. You're a lot of fun.
Thanks.
And also, this is completely an act. I can't stand him off camera.
Oh, wow.
Totally can't.
He loves me.
No red light tonight?
Yeah, no red light tonight.
I'm going to send you guys sexy time candles.
Oh,
no,
yes,
totally.
That too.
Yeah, I can't wait.
One bottle of red and one bottle of white.
Oh, yes. We adore you.
Thank you so much. This was so much fun. I love being able to geek out.
Having me.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Confess your mess.
We have so many people who reveal things to us all the time. They're called our messengers, and they're called messengers because they get into the mess with us, but they also help spread the message of our podcast.
Yes.
So if you want to be a messenger of the week, all you have to do is go to iTunes podcast, rate, comment 5 stars, and you could be a messenger. So this week's messenger, it really made me smile, AJ, and you'll see why. Because again, we told you on the last episode that we are...
Wait, do we know this person? Because every now and then, low-key, we know the people that are on. Okay, not this time. Okay.
But it was only like one time we knew the person. That was Camellia. Yeah. But this person said, love this podcast. Their name is Ash from New York City.
Okay.
AJ and Emile are so great together. Every episode is so entertaining, fun, and sometimes informative. So glad I found this podcast.
I love sometimes informative. That's
sometimes, but most times just mess. No, we appreciate you. Thank you, Ash NYC. You are our messenger of the week. So thank you so much to everybody who's listening. We really do appreciate it. And make sure you follow us on Instagram too at Confess Your Mess Podcast, because we reference anything in this episode that is a visual reference.
There's going to be a photo probably of Bucky's going up.
Videos. You never know. Oh yeah, speaking of videos, this podcast also goes to YouTube. If you search the guest and Confess Your Mess, you'll find it. Confess Your Mess is a Straw Hut Media podcast produced by Ryan Tillotson and Frank Driscoll. Thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and share.
And if you have a secret and want to share, go to confessyourmess.us to submit. Your secret could end up in the show.
Ooh.